How did you get dog hair on me already? Hey, Chris. Long time no talk. Hi, Juanita. I choked. Sorry. I can't believe I got to keep some things quiet tonight when I want to like jump out of my seat. Hey, Ryan. No, right? Not even. Not even 30 minutes. I got a Loki behind me. He's low key trying to get in the camera. Hey, Phil. What's up? Oh boy. How you doing? Where are you at this week? You're all over the place anymore. Last I saw you were what? Indiana, Ohio, one of those two? Whoa, it's like in the camera. I hate when it does that. Not what I wanted to do. Okay, never mind. Hey, Rich. I can't click on any buttons. It makes my camera picks up my finger. You guys, I was so scared to drive my horses down the mountain. I had no idea what was going to happen, how they were going to do, what it was going to be like. And they actually did really, really. I knew my mare would be okay. She's been up and down a couple of times. But my gelding, wasn't sure how that boy would be. The last time I had him in the trailer, he tried to kick it down. This time, he even had Corvettes like gunning their engines behind him as we're on the highway. We had people slamming on brakes in front of us. I'm a very cautious trailer driver, though. I drive really slow with my horses. We're going to get started in like 10 minutes. We'll get going. I'll pray us in. Whiskey actually did really well. I was surprised. He was more just a brat when he was there. And I knew I was so worried about everything though. I was worried about him seeing goats. I was worried about him traveling down. Brooklyn. South Brooklyn. Hey, Rolo. Yeah, so I was really worried about them, and they handled it like pros. Like, it didn't bother them at all. I mean, it was a long drive too, like 2.5 hours. But I want to make sure that they can get in some good, and I didn't even wrap their legs on it. I was worried at first about that. I was paranoid about the brakes. I was paranoid about everything, and they did really, really well. Like, it didn't affect them. Hey, Manny. I got a hair. Where'd it go? I see it right there. Ooh. Oh, I got a hair there too. Long time no talk, Manny. Almost going through withdrawals. Hey, Terry. What's up, Pete? Oh, thanks, Terry. Well, Journey's home now. So I'm all home now. It was just while I was traveling down to family. I went down to go visit family for Thanksgiving, and it's the first time I've ever taken the horses somewhere, anywhere. But everybody got home fine. They were very happy to be home. The little guy over here was not so happy. Willie did not do nearly as well. Willie did not eat, drink, or go to the bathroom the whole time we were there, all 4 days. How he managed to hold it basically for 4 days, I have no idea, other than the fact that he didn't eat or drink the whole time we were there. I felt very guilty and very bad and was forcing water into him. Hey, Brett. Yeah, I was like spooning water into his mouth to make him drink because I was worried he was going to get dehydrated. About the only one who really enjoyed the trip all the way around was Sully. Which surprised me because he doesn't usually like car rides. But, you know, when you Benadryl them before you leave. It worked. It just kept him calm. It took the edge off of him and he slept the whole way. Actually, he didn't even sleep the whole way. He just laid in the back seat and took up the whole back of the car, and I put the seats up and he had the whole rear of the truck. Hey, Kathy. What's up? How was your Thanksgiving? There, whoa, Selby, that's just the cats playing. It's fine. No, I know. No, we don't need to bark that loud. Hey, quit. That's right. That's right in the microphone. Stop. I'm going to have to mute you. No. Nope. Lay down. Lay back down. It was a little crazy, a little hectic. I'll have to text you some news because I can't broadcast it. I'm not allowed to broadcast it. But I'll text you. Yeah, you can guess. It's okay. You can guess. I probably don't need to text you and you probably don't need to put it in here, but you can guess. Yeah. Let's just say I get what I want. Stop, Sully. Yep. My son makes sure I get what I want for Christmas. When he says he's going to do something, he does something. Hush. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited. That made the whole trip, and anything that might not have been fun about it, yeah, it made it pretty awesome. It made it worth it for sure. Okay, we got about 5 minutes and I'll pray us in. We actually are going to have a lesson tonight. I didn't know we were having a lesson tonight until like yesterday. Which is interesting because I was driving home yesterday and didn't even really write anything. I mean, I literally have 3 pages of notes, which is going to be plenty. It's 2 pages of notes, sorry. But it's going to be plenty because I know exactly what we're talking about tonight. Different Phil? We don't get very many Phils. And I got 2 on here? Sully, stop. No, Janny, she must be working. Or did I miss her coming on? Hey, Steph. How you doing? Yeah. Ouch. Nice when you get to relax. I have jury duty tomorrow, you guys. jury duty first thing in the morning tomorrow, which is okay because my job pays me for it. I work for the county, so I get to go, but I got to drive an hour each way. That's the part that's going to suck, which means I have to leave an hour early for work because I got to be there an hour early and I got to work an hour late. So that's all going to be fun. I'm hoping it's just tomorrow and that they end up letting me go. Not because I don't want to serve on a jury. I've done that before. It actually was very interesting. If you've never served on a jury and you get the opportunity, it's actually very interesting to do. I had a good one, actually. It was nothing super major, but it was a criminal case. Anthony, how you doing? Are you just bouncing in and out again? Ouch. Ouch. What's up? How was your Thanksgiving? Oh, thanks. I do some days. When it actually goes the way it's supposed to go, I do. When it's a little crazy, it's not so much fun. I cut it this week, so it was good. It was long. It was a long drive, but yeah, it was good. I got to see family. Got to see my aunt, who I haven't seen in a while. And it's my dog's birthday, so day after Thanksgiving is always my dog's birthday. Yes, they are natural. Yeah, so it's always a matter of trying to figure out how to get them to go. I got to color it again, too. I'm trying to get roots. Right? He's 8. Cooper. Cooper is 8. And he was a good boy this weekend for the most part. He's so anxious when he's not with me. That based, I mean, you know, if you factor that in, he did good. But, you know, he was kind of a troublemaker at times, too. All right, let's pray in. Aw. What kind? There's nothing about me that will not always own dogs. I don't care if I'm 95, I'll have a dog. Right? Little boy's 8. He's got a sister who's 8 too. Hey, Daniel. Aw. One of the girls I work with wants a miniature schnauzer. And they are so sweet and they are so smart. But she wants something that's hypoallergenic. She wants a smaller one. I earned them, but when you have dark hair, they show up so quickly. I mean, if it stayed curly, it'd be one thing. And if I could just go gray and then keep it that way, it'd be one thing. But I'm so salt and pepper that I'm not a fan. Not a fan. I'm also not a fan of coloring it every 2 to 3 weeks. But, you know, whatever. That's quicker than going gray all the way. So, all right. Let me pray us in. Besides, I feel old enough now. Let me pray us in and then we will get started on this and see how many of you guys this applies to, because I have a feeling it's gonna apply. All right, Heavenly Father, we just thank you for your love. We thank you for your patience with us more than anything else. And Father, I just pray that tonight I give the message that you want to give, that you will speak through me, that I am nothing more than just a vessel for you. As most of this, I'm going through myself. It's not something that I don't speak from, as if I am not suffering through this, going through this, enduring through this, and questioning this at times myself. So Lord, just give us explanation as you see fit, as is your will. Father, just help us to understand what it is that you are doing with us in this time. Give us direction and guidance and wisdom. Fill us with your spirit so that we understand what it is you want us to understand and that we are able to do the things that you've called us to do. And we ask these things in the name of Jesus. Amen. Oh, wow. Already, Manny? We're already blocking people? Great. It's going to be that kind of night. Thanks, Pat. I've gotten that a couple of times about my hair especially. All right. So I've been going through a season and I've done a couple of videos about this. You guys can go back and see them if you want. But I've done a couple of videos about this and I mentioned it a couple of days ago that it's a quicksand season. that we are going through a period where we are struggling, we are fighting. It's this emotional upheaval, this emotional turmoil, and you can't seem to shake it. And the more, thanks, Anthony, the more you fight it, the more you fight against it. You know that God is working. Like, God has shown himself faithful. You know that you're in God's will. You know that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and yet you're still fighting. Thank you, Steph. You're still struggling. You're still feeling this tug of war. And more than anything else, you're still just so sad. Like, you feel so down, and it's not depression. It's not that you want to do anything, but you just feel like it would be easier, and you almost feel like there's no purpose to it. Like, I kept finding myself asking the question, what is the point of all of this? What is the real point in all of this, Lord? I know you have a point in this, but what is it? Because I'm missing it. I'm not getting it. I'm not walking the way you want me to walk. Show me how to walk. And then he shows me nothing. And, I would see a video or something would come up reminding me that when you're walking in God's will, he doesn't have to speak. He doesn't have to redirect you. He doesn't have to give you a course correction, because there's no course correction necessary, because you're on the right course. And I'm like, then what is this that I feel? I just feel this grief. Like, I am so sad. I found myself crying more than I did at the beginning of my divorce. Like, you guys, if you know me, you know that the only thing I cared about in life, all of my life, since I was a child, all I wanted was to be a mom and to be a wife. I didn't care about a career. I didn't care about a livelihood. I didn't care about any of those things. I would do those things. Like, I had dreams and aspirations for a career, but I wanted to be a professional writer. I did that. I could have done without that, as long as I got to be a wife and a mother. And that's all that mattered to me. And then finding out at 50 years old, 49 years old, having my ex-husband walk out on me, and all of the things that he said afterwards and the way he did things afterwards exploded my entire life. Like, made me question my very identity as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, as all the things that I had been. And I lost it all in an instant. And I never have gotten it back fully. Like, I know what God says about me. I know what he is telling me, and I believe those things, but yet I feel like I've lost my identity, and who is this person, and who am I supposed to be? And I've spent 3 years really sitting at God's feet. Hey, Luciano, you must be Italian. Sitting at his feet and just letting him love on me and teach me and heal me from all of the wounds of my past. Hey, Whit. And this last month, I have just found myself torn apart again. I feel like I'm going through it all over again, like, but worse. Because now, hey, Iffy, it's not about my ex-husband. I don't want my ex-husband back. I don't want anybody back who would do those things, talk about me that way, treat me the way he treated me. I know my value. I know what I deserve. I know what I'm worth. I know what my Father says. But yet at the same time, there is just still this grief in me. And at first I thought, okay, well, this is just the enemy. This is the enemy weighing down on me, pressing down on me, trying to push me out of my purpose for God, push me out of God's will, push me out of alignment with God, so that I'll be so focused and distracted on, hurting and wanting, that I won't serve what he wants me to do. And instead, I realized suddenly, no, this isn't just the enemy. I mean, yes, the enemy is in this as well. The enemy is using these moments of grief in me to press on me and try to speak lies over me to see if I'll believe. I knew you had to be some kind of Latin, because only Latin men will come flirt like that. And so I knew the enemy was pressing on me, and I knew that he was trying to use those lies to open a door again. And I was taking it back to God and taking it back to God, and he felt silent. Like he wasn't stopping it. And why aren't you stopping it, Lord? And what is this? And what he started reminding me, and what he started showing me through, I told you guys last week about the instance with the dinner, how I met that woman who, was there because of grief. And it suddenly dawned on me, this is grief. This is not grief over a person. This is not mourning over the death of a person because it was never real to begin with. What I thought I had was never real to begin with. And so now what I recognized is what was actually happening was I was grieving ideas. And I was grieving what I thought would be and what I hoped would be and what I planned would be and all of those things, because I'm a planner. I've told you guys that before, but all of those things I had planned in my life previously, all of those things that I thought were my identity, all of those things from my past that I had made up in my head were real, including realities about my children and how my life with my children was going to be. And what our relationships were going to look like in the future. And yes, exactly, with death of a dream. So I'm mourning and grieving, but it's not a person, it's a thing. And it's all the things I've built up in my head over 50 plus years that I'm not going to experience now. And not that they will never happen, but they will never happen the way I thought they were going to happen, and coming to terms with that. And finally, what God told me a couple of days ago is, you're in a shedding season. I said, what? He said, you're in a shedding season. And this past weekend, you guys, I spent the weekend with my parents, and I was nervous about doing it. I was nervous about taking the horses down. I have never taken the horses on a trip like this. I've never taken the dogs on a trip like this. And I decided to take them all. 3 dogs, 2 horses, one of which is still a baby, to a place that they've never been to go be around goats that they have never been around. The dogs have never been around goats. Willie is blind and deaf, so he doesn't like anything new. And I know that. And I'm like, yeah, why not? Let's do that. Let's do something different this year, because I wanted to visit with my family. And so I load everybody up. Yes, Iffy. Yes. And that's what I kept saying to my therapist was, why can't I just be happy? Where is the joy that I should be finding with God? I want to find my joy in him. I want to be happy again. I want to be done with this. When does this grief end? Thank you, Larry. And so I packed everybody up. I went down to my parents' house. And when I got there, nothing turned out the way I thought it was going to. Not all bad, not all good. And I was really upset over certain things that happened. And like one of the things that happened is Cooper shredded my brother's screen door on his trailer. He got so anxious at one point because I had to go to a funeral. He got so anxious at that point that he shredded all of the screening off. It was all over the trailer. And I couldn't do it. I burst into tears. I felt so bad. I was so embarrassed. I was so ashamed of him. But more than anything, I was just ashamed that it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. And I was so vulnerable and on edge. And I realized, I went up to my brother. I'm like, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. He's like, it's okay. Now, keep in mind, my brother fixed screen doors and re-screened doors and hung screen doors for custom homes for a living. Hey, Nick. And that's what he did for a living for many, many years. And literally for him to fix this screen took him 5 minutes to do it. But I was just so upset about it and so worked up about it and felt like I had just let everybody down again. Like I couldn't even do that right. And yes, part of it is the enemy just weighing on me of see. But at the same time, when I went into the trailer and I was sitting in there in the evening and I was just praying and having some more time with God. And he's like, stop letting the enemy rule your thoughts. Stop letting the enemy tell you who you are. We had played a family game and we had promised, everybody had agreed. It was one of those games where it can be kind of brutal. It's who is most likely to, and then it's got all these different things on the back of cards. You guys, I don't recommend this game, not because it's not a fun game, but because it's a game where people could easily get their feelings hurt and did, even though we kind of pretended like we weren't going to, we did. And listening to my kids throw cards down for me. Hey, Kenzie, throw cards down for me and say these things. And they weren't horrible things, but it's like, who's most likely to be dramatic? That's what we're talking about, Kenzie, is wanting to crash out. Literally about wanting to crash out. And I'll give you a recommendation after this. But I was sitting there thinking, That's basically what I was thinking is, Lord, I'm about to crash out. I'm about to crash out. And he said, stop letting people who are not saved have the authority of what you think about you. Stop letting them be the ones. Stop letting the people who don't even know me be the ones who tell you who you are. No. It hasn't. It's been going on for a while. It's God's seasons are not following our seasons right now. And I've known this was coming for a while. And I'll tell you, it's funny because I noticed I have a plant in my front yard. And I think I mentioned this to you, Manny. I have a Gerbera daisy plant in my front yard. Now, if you know anything about Gerbera daisies, they bloom all through summer. And then at the end of summer, they just turn into a plant, kind of die back. And then you don't get any flowers again until spring from them. All of a sudden, my Gerbera daisy started dying in like July. And I thought, oh, it's just the heat. I know what you mean, but hang tight. And I was like, my Gerbera daisy is dying. And then all of a sudden I get this, I watered it. And come September, late September, all of a sudden it just turns green and bright and beautiful again. And I get all these big flowers on it. And I mentioned it, I think it was to you, Manny. And he goes, it's not the season for that. I said, no, it's not. And I noticed a lot of my plants, my Callia lilies, are blooming out of season. And I was like, that's weird. And then I came in the house, and as soon as I came in, like a couple days later, I'm in my house and I see a prophetic word from somebody, and they're talking about how God is doing things out of season, things that aren't supposed to be happening in this season. The other thing I noticed is my lilac bush that I have that has never, ever bloomed, started blooming in early October. It got flowers on it in October and bloomed. They don't bloom in October. They bloom in April and May. That's the only time you get lilacs blooming around here. And so I had all these lilac blooms, and my whole yard smelled like lilac for a plant that has never bloomed before. And I'm like, Lord, what are you doing? You're telling me that things are going to happen in weird seasons. You're telling me we are not in the season I think we're in. And he's like, keep watching. So then this week, with everything that's happened, he tells me you're in a shedding season. And I said, okay, but what is a shedding season? Like I know what, a wilderness season is. I know what isolation season is. I know what a waiting season is. What's a shedding season? I've never even heard of that. And I didn't even look it up, you guys. What he told me to do is go look up shedding. Go look up what it means to shed. What happens when animals shed? And so I started looking it up. And really, okay, so I'm going to explain this to you guys. So we're going to do some science stuff in this as we go through this, but it actually is going to apply to a lot of us. So shedding is the process where some part of the body is cast off. So like it's sloughed off when it comes with skin. Think of lizards. It's molting when it's feathers, so birds. And then it's hair with mammals. So like you'll shed hair, your dogs and cats will shed hair, hamsters and rabbits will shed hair, but usually lizards and vertebrates will shed their skin. Spiders will shed their exoskeleton, but molting is feathers. Okay, so let's keep this in mind when we go through this. I want you guys to turn to 2 Corinthians 5. Okay, and we're going to go to verse 17. I'm going to read this in the Passion Translation, and then we're going to kind of go through this. And I want you guys to see how God is like explaining these things to me. And if this is what you're going through, you're going to understand this. This is going to be really clear, and it's going to resonate with you. Now, if anyone is enfolded into Christ, he has become an entirely new person. All that is related to the old order has vanished. Behold, everything is fresh and new, and God has made all things new and reconciled us to himself and given us the ministry of reconciling others to God. Okay, so here's the thing. Shedding is done so that something can grow. So when something, sometimes it's all at once, and sometimes it's in pieces. So when it's an exoskeleton, like a grasshopper, like horseshoe crab, things like that, it's essential that they shed the outer layer, their exoskeleton. Ladybugs do the same thing, you guys. They shed that exoskeleton because they cannot expand any farther. They cannot grow any farther. Trees will shed their leaves. If they do not shed, they will die. They will literally be so compressed within that thing that they will die off. Snakes will shed their skin. And the way they do it is they will rub up against something near their eyelid or around their eye. And they have this covering, the scale over their eye. And then they will rub it until that breaks, till that skin basically gets cut enough to start scraping off. And they will just keep wiggling their way until they can get out of it. And it usually takes time. You cannot rush the process. It takes time of them moving consistently. You can go online and see videos, which are a little creepy, but you can see videos of spiders shedding their exoskeleton, how they have to literally break it off at the headpiece and then just keep wiggling and flipping and moving until they can actually crawl out of it. It's a very tedious, time-consuming process for them. And with a snake skin, they literally work their way out. They flip that snake skin off of them and it comes off the way a sock would if you pull the part at the top of your foot and just pull it off inside out. That's how a snake skin comes off. And then with lizards, this is what's gross. With lizards, they will shed a piece at a time, like it'll be the foot part or it'll be like, part of their body, but they eat the skin. And the skin that they shed off and eat, that actually fuels them for the growth that they are going to experience in their body as they move forward. Okay. The other thing we need to talk about, we're going to come back and go through these things. John 15:2, every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away, God. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, cuts back, and like shedding, the excess is taken off, that it may bear more fruit. Outgrown parts hold the plant, the animal, the insect, the invertebrate back. So if they can't get those pieces off of them, they're completely held back from growing any further. Hebrews 12:1 tells us, therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside, cast off every sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us. We cannot move if we do not shed what is holding us back. They do it for the health of the thing that we're talking about. It's letting go of old parasites that might be attached to the outside skin, the exoskeleton, even the hair, the dust mites that will be on your animals, your pets. Those are shed off with that excess skin. Those are the dead parts that are shed off. And they do it for adaptation to the environment. So think of temperature regulation. When a dog sheds their winter coat for their spring coat, it's because they need to release that extra hair, that undergrowth that they have to keep warm, because it'll keep them too warm in the springtime. Same thing with camouflage. Animals will change their coats. Think of rabbits in the winter versus rabbits in the fall or the spring. What is protecting you in one season might kill you in another. And that's something, like think of overheating. Think of not being able to hide in different types of environments. So then we come to Ephesians 4:31. Lay aside bitter words, temper tantrums, revenge, profanity, and insults. Instead, be kind and affectionate toward one another. Has God graciously forgiven you? Then graciously forgive one another in the depths of Christ's love. Okay, so let's go back to this really quickly. Okay, I want to go back through this with you guys and not take too long because I don't want to keep you guys too late tonight. So here's the thing. For our growth right now, we're in a shedding season. We are in a shedding season of grief. And what God kept telling me is, and he's been telling me this for a while, you have to go through the valley. You can't go around the valley. You can't go above the valley. You can't go under the valley. You have to go through the valley. You guys, when I went to my parents' house this week, I literally came down off of a mountain. And as I came down off of this mountain, I looked off to my right-hand side to the valley that is below. And I see this sea of just white. We're going to get into it even more, Iffy. I see this sea of just white clouds. Nothing but white clouds. It looks like ocean waves of white clouds. It was the coolest thing I think I have ever seen. And if I didn't have the horses with me, I would have pulled over to take a picture of it. All I see is beautiful blue skies above, mountaintops, green pine trees, beautiful, everything you expect from the Sierra Nevadas, okay? And think of Tahoe. That's what it looks like above. And then you see this white sea of cloud all underneath it, covering the entire valley. You can't see anything. You can't see through it. It is complete white. And I knew as I drove past that, this is not going to be good because I have to drive through that to get down to the highway where I need to go. So as I start coming down the rest of the way down the mountain, I go through all this fog, and it's that tule fog. It's that wet, heavy, dense, can't see through it fog. And I get through. It wasn't too bad. It wasn't horrible. I could see, maybe half a mile in front of me. So I mean, that's okay. I can do that. So we get through all the fog, get all the way down into the valley. And now I've gone down all the way through it. It's high fog. It was like going underwater. And the difference between if you've ever taken a camera underwater, like you see above the water, then you see the water line, and then you see under the water. Okay. It was kind of like that. So I go through the water line of the fog itself, and then I get under it, and now the fog is above me. It's like looking up from underwater. You see everything above, but it's different. And now I've got this high fog above me, and it was horrible. You guys, it was horrible. All 4 days that I was down in the valley, it was just high fog, wet, cold, just that murkiness all around you. It wasn't fun. That part of it, the weather was awful. And so we had this for the whole time I was down there. And then coming back up, I'm like, okay, I got to go through that fog again, but it shouldn't be too bad. I'm telling you, I hit that mountain, same spot all over again. This time the fog was 10 times worse. Could not even see the lines on the road in front of me. And here I've got the horses, the dogs. Now I have a load of hay in the back of my truck, and I'm going at about 15, 20 miles an hour up a mountain in the fog, in the late afternoon, praying to be able to make it through these windy turns on this highway, and that no semis are coming and crossing any lines. So all I kept thinking was, Lord, I should pull over. Lord, I should pull over. And he's like, keep going. Keep going. You have to go through this. You have to just keep going through this. As long as you keep going through this, talking to me, watching the line, watch what you can see right in front of you. That's all you need to see right now. Just look for the line right in front of you and follow that line. Don't look ahead into the fog. Don't look to either side. You see the lines holding you in. You see the guardrails. Follow that. And so I just followed that. And it was probably about 10 miles of not even a quarter mile that you could see ahead of you. Not even a quarter mile. And so I'm traveling at like 15, 20 miles an hour up this mountain, figured whatever cars are behind me, too bad. This is the pace we're going. You can either pass me on the passing lane or you can just stay behind me. And so I'm going at this pace, and I get all the way through. And as soon as I get up the mountain, not even all the way up the mountain, but most of the way up the mountain, I see the sky crack open and there's blue sky. And he was like, you just got to make it through the mountain. Yeah, I mean the valley. You just got to go through the valley. Yea, though I walk through the valley, I shall fear no evil. And I realized I don't have to fear what's in here with me. I don't have to fear what's coming because God has got me. I'm doing exactly what he said. You guys, right now we are in a season of shedding all the old. And during that, you just have to go through this. I have spent the last 25 years or more of my life trying not to feel things, trying not to feel hurt, not to feel upset, not to feel anger, not to not feel because it hurts too much to feel, because I feel too much for me. But as I was listening to him tell me all of this, I'm realizing I have to feel this. I have been trying to go every route around this valley, over this valley, under this valley, to not feel grief, to not feel what it's like to shed these things in order to not feel what it's like to shed these things. Now let's stop and think for a second. What does it feel like to shed? Right? I mean, I've never thought of that in my life, but if you really stop and think about it, what must it feel like to shed if you're an animal? It's going to be discomfort. It's going to be very uncomfortable. If you've ever watched your dog in the summer or in the early spring, trying to get all that winter coat off, they are rubbing on everything, scratching constantly, hairs blowing everywhere. I have a Great Pyrenees. We're blowing coats all the time. But you think even for a snake, it's got to be uncomfortable because that skin that they're trying to get rid of is going to be restrictive. It's going to be constricting. It's going to be itchy. It's almost going to be choking them. You think about the exoskeleton that animals have to shed off. That is going to be like wearing clothing that is too tight. We just came out of Thanksgiving and we like our stretchy pants, right? What if you couldn't have your stretchy pants? What if you're in super tight fitting clothing and you can't get it off? That's what it's going to feel like if you can't shed, right? Rugs, you get it. It's tight, it's restricting, it's uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable place. Sometimes it's just plain miserable. And I don't know about you guys, but for the last month, I have been up and down and up and down and up and down of this misery, just flat out misery. It's irritable. You find yourself with a short temper, mad at yourself, mad at God, mad at everybody else, just wanting it all to stop. It's stressful. Because these animals and these insects and, like you watch them from, if you watch that spider shed its exoskeleton, you can tell how frustrated it is. But it's also, I've seen chickens molt and it's painful. It can be very, very painful for them. Why? Because they're vulnerable and they're naked and that new skin is raw to the touch. It's never had anything touch it before. So it's super, super sensitive. The snakes that shed the scales from their eyes, right? The snakes and lizards will shed the scales that were over their eyes because they were covered. Now all of a sudden everything is brighter. They can see things that they couldn't see. Every sense is going to be heightened in a good way and a bad. You guys, do you not see how this is exactly what God is doing with us? This is exactly the season that God is taking a lot of us through. And we hate every second of it. I'm right there with you guys to sit there and say, I hate this season. I have prayed it several times over the last 2 weeks. God, I hate where you have me right now. I hate every second of this. I don't like it. It's uncomfortable. I don't want to feel these things. I don't like feeling these things. I want to be done with this. And he's like, you got to go through it. You got to go through it. The more you fight this, and this is where I told you guys in that other video, it's like quicksand season. The more you fight this, the more you're going to sink. The more you're going to be stuck here. We are at the point now where it's a do or die kind of thing. It's so hard. It's a do or die kind of thing that you really just have to. Okay. So when I had my daughter, I went to the Lamaze classes. I did all the things. This was 29 years ago. So we were still doing Lamaze at that point. And the one thing I learned in that class, because I had her natural, but the one thing I learned in that class, and I have used every single time I am ever in pain, is you don't grit your teeth and bear down in the pain and fight against the pain and like try to wrestle and, move against that pain. What you need to do with the pain is stop and take deep breaths and breathe through the pain. And sometimes you guys, sometimes there's a time to fight. When you're fighting something, someone, then you can fight. But when it's a pain that's internal, that has to be born. It has to be, you have to bear under that pain. You have to endure that pain. You can't get out from under that pain. You guys, God's been saying for a while, we're in a birthing season. The promises are, you're pregnant. It's birthing pains. You guys have been hearing that for months. It's birthing pains. It's birthing pains. Well, this is labor. This is labor. What we're in right now, this shedding season, it's labor. It's just like labor. And the only way to get through that is literally lean into it. Lean into it and take deep breaths and exhale slowly and just let it happen. You have to let it happen. You have to feel all the things, because when the time comes and it's done, it's going to be done. The healing is going to come from that. The healing comes after this, but we've got to work our way through the valley one step at a time. And most of us have been fighting for years to not feel this. We've been trying to focus so hard on the being proactive and what does God need to heal in me? And I'm going to do the healing work and work, do. And now he's saying, now just be still. Let's actually heal internally. Let's actually feel what you need to feel, because you've been avoiding this part of it. You cannot run from this part of it. You guys, you can do all the right things as a pregnant woman. You can do all the planning, all the prepping, all the nesting, all the cleaning, all the washing of the clothes, all of the, getting everything that you need for that baby to be born. You can read all the books on how to, go through natural birth. You can plan everything out down to the final details. You can get the doula. You can get the birthing pool. You can get the ball to lay on. You can get, make all these plans about where you're going to do your walking and how you're going to sit in a warm tub before that. But I'm telling you, when it comes down to it, when you're in labor, it's different. All those plans go out the window. That's when you start yelling for an epidural. And for someone who did it without an epidural, trust me, you have to go through the pain. You learn how to endure the pain, but one of the greatest things you learn with pain is learning how to breathe through it. You have to learn how to just slow down, which is the other message he's been giving me. Slow down, breathe through it, and just let it pass. Slow down, focus on the truth, and let everything else pass. Because right now, we're miserable. We're shedding these things. We're shedding the old things from us. All of those old habits that we thought we had, all of the bitterness, the frustration. I said something this week. Somebody made a comment to me about my ex-husband. And I said, oh, well, isn't that just freaking special for him? Isn't that fantastic for him? And I went, I'm sorry. And they go, what? I said, I'm sorry. That was just some bitterness coming out. There's still some residual bitterness when it comes to this. They're like, no, it's understandable. And I said, no, that's not who I want to be anymore. And I caught it and, I repented from it, but it's still there. We need to shed those old things. And God is bringing all of those old things to the surface. For everything, there is a season, a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pick what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time of peace. The thing is, you guys, we are going through this shedding. All of the old things have to be dropped off. We have to allow the Lord to remove piece by piece. And it tells us it's for our growth. He wants to take us to the next level. And if you are at this point, you have come to a level where he can trust us with the shedding season. Maybe the reason we don't hear about it very often, because I even went looking for things and it was hard to find anything about a shedding season. But maybe the reason we don't hear about it a lot is because most people don't get to this level. Maybe this is an unusual level for people to get to. We know about the wilderness season. We know about the waiting season. We know about the isolation season. Maybe because those are things that everyone goes through in their newer walk with God. But this is one of those things that is a chosen walk of God. And it's before he can elevate us to the next. This is the birthing season. It's the labor. It's the work. It's for our growth. It's for us to let go of those outgrown things that are holding us back. Yes, Jill, exactly. It's those overgrown things that we need to let go of so that we can run the race. These are those weights that are holding us back. And if you've ever seen a runner, especially endurance running, marathon runners, things like that, they might have a pack with water that they can use. They might have snacks for along the race, but they do not carry rocks. They do not pick up rocks along the way and think, oh, wow, this is a cool rock. I'm going to carry this with me for later. No, you don't want any extra weight. God is teaching us how to shed those things, even the good things that don't matter for us anymore. These are things that cannot go into the next with us. These are things that we have to rid ourselves of beforehand. And it sucks. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. This season sucks. It's for our health, though. You know, we sit there and we pray, God, I want your will to be done. God, I want your will to be done. He's like, this is my will. This is my will for you. You keep seeing this as things I'm taking away in punishment. It's not punishment. It's making this for your health. I am removing the dead things in your life. I was sitting there telling him, all of these things look dead. He goes, except for me. I raised the dead. So he's cutting off the parts of us and the parts of our lives that aren't going to bear fruit. He knows what's going to bear fruit in the future. We're so busy trying to hold on to dead branches, and he is trying to get rid of the dead branches because he knows new branches need the nutrients that are going to come from that. If he's trying to remove it, it's dead. It's not something that needs to be there. It's going to help us adapt to our environment. What is coming in the future, he already sees. We don't know, and we're trying to hang on to old things that are no longer needed for what's coming in the future. And he can't take us to the future as long as we're still holding on to these things. As long as we are still holding on to and clutching the dead and dying pieces. Okay, you guys, it's like this. In the springtime, you know, like I live where there's oak trees. We get a ton of oak leaves falling. Great. What if I was so busy clutching to those leaves, trying to put them back on the trees, that I miss the spring blooms that are coming out? He's already got something new coming, and I'm so busy holding on to, hey, Vashti, I'm so busy holding on to everything that's dead and gone and worthless and not meant for me in the next. I can't even accept what is coming that may be better than what is behind. Why would I want dead leaves when there's green leaves coming? Why would I want dead apples when there are new apples about to bloom? We are so busy mourning what is gone that we don't see what is coming. We are so busy looking, you know, we'll sit there and say, oh, don't look in the rearview mirror. Don't look back like Lot's wife did, but we don't let go of the picture of it either. And that's the thing he's been reminding me of in this. And it took me a really long time, probably 2-3 weeks, to figure out I am not mourning and grieving my ex-husband. It's not because I still love him or I still want him back. I missed and loved my life, and at least the fantasy I had built in my head of what my life was going to look like, what I thought I had. It's that dream up here. And what he kept reminding me is, it's no more real than the books you write. I wrote romance novels. I made up stories. And I know Ryan and I were talking about something, and he would like say, well, it's probably this thing is happening. And I'm like, you're making up stories again. And he goes, no, I mean, maybe, but, and then he would say something else. And I'm like, you're making up stories again. You're making up stories in your head. When we start living by assumptions and we start saying, well, this person is thinking that, we're making up stories. We don't know. And if we don't know, we're making decisions and plans based off of fantasy. We don't know our future. Only God knows. Not as good as me. We don't know our future. We don't know what he's got in store for us unless he tells us. And then when he does tell us, we don't want to believe him because it doesn't match what we have in our head. We decide that we get to decide. And so God's like, all right, well then I'm going to hold this back. If we are not living in reality, God's reality, and hear me, that does not mean what we see. It's absolutely trust issues, TJ. I will give you that one. If we do not live in the reality that God tells us, and sometimes that's a fine line, you guys, because you have to be able to trust yourself that what you're hearing is from God, because otherwise you're going to start questioning. And I've done it. I've done it over and over and over again. I know some of you guys have done it over and over and over again. Is this really God? Well, what if I'm wrong? Well, what if I'm not wrong? Well, it doesn't matter if you're wrong. It doesn't matter if you're wrong. You know, I had you guys praying for my daughter's cat, and I know I had heard the Lord tell me he's going to be okay. The cat died last week, you guys. They went through this whole horrendous thing, and their cat ended up dying. And he got better for a while, went home, and then got sick again and ended up passing away. And it was so hard on them. And I kept thinking, Lord, you said he was going to be okay. He said he is. And I realize he is because he's not here. And his version of okay may not be the same as my version of okay, but I put my expectation on it. And that is really what we're mourning. That is really what we're grieving. And he wants us to slough off like a skin that's too tight. Let go of the control. Let go of the expectations. Let go of the pictures in your head and what it's supposed to look like. Yes, we still have hope. Yes, we can still want things and desire things and pray for things. We have all of those things, but our hope is not in those things. Our hope is not in our plans coming to pass. Our hope is in the Lord and what he brings us, and that is what's good. That is what's intended. That is the plan for us, and that is what we're going to find joy in, not our version and our vision of what it's supposed to be. Here comes a cat, guys. He's going to walk right in front of that camera. Go. Does that make sense to you guys? I know it sucks. It's not any better hearing me explain it. It doesn't make it easier to go through. It doesn't make it easier to deal with. Trust me, because I'm seriously considering taking some time off of work just to process my grief, just to really sit and feel what I need to feel and be frustrated with God and be disillusioned with my fantasies and really just lay those things at his feet. But you guys, God is strong enough and he is good enough that he allows us to do that. There you go. Because the thing is, he did it with Mary and Martha. He knew he was going to raise Lazarus from the dead, but he did it with them to let them sit at their feet or at his feet. He did it so that he sat there and mourned and grieved with them. He's okay with you hurting and grieving. He grieves with you. It tells us he is close to the brokenhearted. You realizing that your dreams are not going to happen the way you wanted them to and mourning that fact, that's grief that he will share with you. Yeah, me too, Iffy. Me too. And you guys, we want to sit there and just be like, push past it, get past it, just keep moving, suck it up, buttercup. And I'm right there for tough love. I am one of those people who I actually will, right? I will actually like suck it up. You know, come on, guys. You know, I'll do that with my kids all the time. Come on. You know what to do about that. But there comes a time when you need to not suck it up. Sucking it up and burying it internally is not dealing with it. I mean, there are some things that you just have to deal with. You have to, like, you can't change them. You can't change them. You know, like some of the things that happened this weekend, I can't change people. I can't change their decisions. I can't change who they are, the way they act. I have no control over any of that, but I do have control over my responses to it. And my responses to it this weekend were, I'm not going to tolerate that. And you can do that, but I'm going to leave the room. And learning to set boundaries for yourself and for others, but grieving that sometimes people aren't going to change. You're not going to get the closure that you think you want, because that's one of the things that I'm grieving, that there will never be any closure. There will never be an apology. There will never be an admission of guilt. There will never be an admission that what was done was wrong or that things were lied about. Those admissions are not going to happen. I mean, they could happen, but I'm not going to hold my life waiting for those things to happen, because chances are they aren't going to happen, because those people don't even acknowledge that they did anything wrong. And because they don't acknowledge that they did anything wrong, here I am eating myself alive that I need those things, but I really don't need those things. Because what God reminded me of is you're never going to get a satisfactory answer anyway. You're never going to have a satisfactory closure anyway, because the thing is, if they don't recognize what they do, if you haven't received it yet, they don't care enough to give it. They're more focused on their wants and needs than yours. They don't see what they did to you already. If you get it, great. Forgive and move on. If you don't get it, fine. Forgive and move on. But Kathy, the fact that you've already had some of these things running through your mind, that's why I say it's a shedding season. And you guys, let me just say that once you're through the shedding season, and this is not something you can rush through. As somebody who's like, all right, let's hurry up and get through this. Let's just work our way through this Bible study. Let's just press our way through this moment. Let's feel the feelings. Hey, Michelle, let's feel the feelings and just push through, work our way through, strong arm my way through this. He's like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Nope, that's not how this works. This is a process. And it's a sucky process. Grief, I keep telling everybody, and I don't remember where I heard it. I would love to give credit for this, but I don't even remember where I heard it. But grief is like walking along the beach. Like you're walking and the ocean waves are around your ankles and you feel it. You feel the cold, you feel the water, you feel it lapping at your feet. You feel even it sucking the sand from underneath your feet a little bit, and it's all doable. You can still walk. It's, it's not like walking on bare sand, but it's kind of fun. You can feel it. Like it's not going to take you out. It's there, but you can do it. You can still walk. You can still jump. You can still run even if you need to. You can still do all the things you need to do with it moving around your ankles. But then when you least expect it, you turn your back on it and you think you know what to expect, but you get hit in the back with a tidal wave. That wave comes up and it sucks the ground out from underneath you, drags you out into the water, and you're soaked and you feel like you're drowning in it and you can't get up and you can't get your footing and you don't know where you are. And that's what grief feels like. Out of nowhere, it will pull you under like an undertow. And you have to get your bearings again. And that's how grief is, you guys. And I went to my therapist and I'm like, when? It's been 3 years. Why can't I stop being sad? Why can't I stop feeling things? Why can't I stop crying over these things? And she said, it's not the things. It's the betrayal. It's the things that were done to you. Those things don't just disappear. Those things don't just vanish because of time. That part was real. The fantasy was not. And you're feeling the hurt from the reality, not just the loss of the fantasy. Mm-hmm. And it still will come in like seasons and phases. Certain things will trigger it. You guys, and that's the one thing I wanted to say to, I don't know if you're still on here, Kenzie. I didn't even, it never dawned on me, but I've been watching Transformation Church for a long time. They actually just are 11 weeks into a series, but the whole series was on different things that trigger you. And if you watch it, it will talk about what triggers different things in you, whether it's depression, whether it's anger, whether it's frustration, whether it's lashing out, whatever it is. Don't be sorry for saying that. You absolutely get to say that. This is a safe place to say that. This is where people will pray for you for that. But Transformation Church has been doing a series on different things that trigger you and how to react in those things and how to take control of it. Now they start talking about, okay, you know your triggers. Now you recognize what your triggers are. We know we have them. What do we do with them now? How do we take them to God? And it literally, as I was listening to it today, I realized he's talking about a shedding season. He's talking about now on the 11th week of this. He's saying these are all the things that hurt. These are all the things that hurt you. The people that hurt you. All of the traumas of your past that are triggering things in your life. Now, let's take them to Jesus and shed them. And I was like, wow, Lord, you really tied that up, didn't you? And the thing is, it just reminds me that, and I watched another one today talking about the blessings of God and what that actually encompasses and how those come in. And it comes after the shedding. We have to lose this skin, this armor that we have on us that is holding us back. If we do not lose this armor, we cannot take what's next. We cannot be ready for what's next. Just like, the exoskeleton will actually kill the animal that it's on if they cannot shed it. You guys, butterflies have to change. They have to shed what they once were when they're a larva and then they go into that pupa stage. If they do not shed what they are and change, they will die. If we do not shed these old things that are holding us back, these old things that are choking and constricting our walk with God, we are going to stay where we are in pain and die. We are going to live as lukewarm Christians, never seeing the blessings that God has for us because we're stuck. I made a comment this morning to the Lord where I said, this person, I chose you, Lord. I chose you. I did the thing that I was supposed to do. I chose you. And that person chose the world and they have everything. He said, that's exactly what happened. Exactly the same way it happened to my son in the wilderness. He chose me rather than what the enemy offered. You chose me, and that person chose what the enemy offered. Who got the better deal? You tell me. You tell me if you regret your decision. And I don't. I don't regret the decision, but it feels unfair at times. And you guys, I'm just being transparent and honest with you. Sometimes we see the wicked succeeding. We see the people who hurt us succeeding. I did a video about it this morning. Psalm 37 and Psalm 73 both. Flip the numbers, look at that. But both of those two Psalms talk about watching the wicked succeed, watching the wicked get what they want, being envious over what they get. When they hurt you and they harmed you and they tore your life apart and they betrayed you and they did all of those things to you, and it's not fair to watch them succeed. And what the Lord told me this morning was, I'm setting him up. He is being set up and that kingdom will fall. And the higher I let him build that house of cards, the more are going to fall when it comes down. And it's not going to be pretty. And I don't want you wanting that for anybody. And I don't want you celebrating that when it happens. But I'm telling you right now, don't be jealous of the wicked. Don't be jealous of those people who hurt you, that everything looks so perfect on the outside right now. Everything looks like it's happy and life is wonderful and they're enduring these. Number one, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. And number two, they are building a house of cards on sand. And that thing is going to collapse at some point, and God is not able to trust you with seeing it yet. Oh yeah, don't care about the wreck, don't care about the responsibilities, don't care about how it looks, don't care about any of it. And everything looks beautiful for them. And you're like, why? That's not fair. I love how you put that in quotation marks, because that really is a quotation mark kind of thing. There is no normal. I've learned that with myself, is that people will look at me and think, you're totally normal. You're totally normal. And I'm like, I'm so not normal. Like, I know for a fact, especially after playing that game this weekend, I know for a fact I overthink things way, way more than most people. Way more than the average person. And the thing is, here's what I said, and I'm just being honest with this. I want these people to be happy. I want the people who hurt me to be happy. I really do. I want them to be happy, but I want them to be happy after I'm happy. Or I at least want to be happy too. I don't care if they're happy. Great, be happy, but I want to be happy. And that's what I've been struggling with God with, is where is the joy that you promised me? I want that joy sometime. Like, it's not that I don't have any, but I want to be happy. I want to have, even if it's just with God, that's fine. That's fine. But I want to be happy. I want to feel joyful being with him. I want the hurt to stop. And it's not the same. It is definitely not the same. But I want the hurting, the aching, that inner aching to stop. And I talked to somebody yesterday and she said, it's not depression. It's not, thoughts of harming yourself. It's not any of those things. It's just that deep longing and that ache for the hurting to stop. It's just for that aching to stop. It's that longing for what we thought, our expectations being unmet. This is exactly what Proverbs talks about when it says that, what's the verse about hope deferred makes the heart sick? This is that heart sickness. That's what this is this is hope deferred. This is our expectations deferred. But you guys got to remember, what does deferred mean? What does deferred mean? Would you rather wait and have your hope deferred so that you get the tree of life when it is fulfilled in God's way, in his will, in his purpose? That's what we're waiting on. Hope deferred for those things, and when it comes, it's going to be far better than the fleeting thing that anyone has in the wicked right now. Iffy, there's no such thing as normal. There's average, but I don't know about you. I don't want average. And that's what I remind myself in with my quiet time with the Lord is I don't want what everybody else has. Everybody else has fake. Everybody else has partial. Everybody else has mediocre. Most of them at best. They might have good areas. I want God areas in my life. I want God's goodness in my life. I want everything that God has for me. I want that. And if it means this momentary suffering, this momentary period of labor, you guys, I've given birth. Like I said, I have given birth. You just haven't seen it. Exactly. I have given birth. And let me tell you, I did not. Okay. So they limited they're restricting me now because we said something. Because I have given birth, because I have had a child naturally, I can tell you those labor pains, they hurt. Those labor pains were hard. Those labor pains have never felt like anything else I've ever felt in my life. Imagine the worst stomach cramps and the worst flu type stomach cramps that you've ever had in your life. Allie Mae, imagine all of those. And then multiply it by 10, because that is what the contractions and that pain felt like. And it went on for hours. Any woman can tell you most labors are not quick. Most labors are drawn out, painful, excruciating, and they are very, very difficult to endure. And you don't know what's coming. And almost every single woman I've ever talked to who's given birth and had labor will tell you at some point they wanted to give up and walk away. They wanted to quit. They wanted to not do this anymore. And they probably said it in their delirium, is that I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. You don't know what you can actually do. You don't know what you can actually endure until you have to endure it. You don't know how strong you are until you have to be strong in a way that you've never been strong before. This is that birthing season. This is that period of trying to just breathe through the pain to get to the other side. You guys, let me pray for us and then we can keep talking. I just want to make sure that anybody in here who needs prayer can get prayer. Like I said, we got restricted. So that's interesting. Especially since we're at quite a few likes. All right, hang tight and then we'll keep going. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this. Lord, we thank you for your revelation. We thank you for your explanation. We thank you that you will even deign to feel the need to explain to us what we're going through, that you will give us that love, that comfort, that understanding, that wisdom, so that we can actually sit with you and know that this is something that we can endure with you because you are with us, that you give us the strength, the ability, the knowledge, just the desire to lean into you farther, to lean into you, to seek your will over our own, even the desire to lean into you farther, to lean into you, to seek your will over our own, even Yeah, no, not answering the phone right now, especially when you know I'm on a live. Somebody who should know better than to call me right now. Cough, cough, Ron. Sorry, I'll just text him. Here we go. Oops. Okay, you guys, the chat is open. Feel free to talk about any of this, all of this, what you need, what we're going through. I'm shooketh. It's not even like a lesson per se, as much as it is him just clarifying what we're going through. And I don't have any word that'll tell you how to get through it easier, better, anything like that. I'm just trying to see. Oh, I know why. Because I said we weren't talking about thoughts or things. Yeah, it basically restricted us because of that for different audiences. Shame on me. I did it this time, Ryan, not you. Well, if there's one thing I am iffy, it's transparent. Probably too much so sometimes. Obviously too much for some people because I heard about it all weekend. That I'm too much of this and I'm too much of that. And for someone who always feels like I know, Ryan, I'm so proud of you. For someone who always feels like they're too much or not enough, depending on the person, what God reminded me of is you can't be too much for the right people. That you're never too much for the right people, and you will always be too much for the wrong. Yeah, that was one of the things they said, is that Tina's always going to give you her opinion. It's not that I want to give my opinion. It's usually not my opinion in the first place. Plus, not to mention that, it's always things I don't want to have to say to people. The Lord had me speaking to non-believers this past week, not in my family, other non-believers. And I was just like, I don't want to do that. I don't really, not the time, not the place, not the thing. And he's like, yep. Same, TJ, same. And I have journal entry after journal entry lately of me saying, Lord, I hate this place. I actually have one entry of me saying, Lord, I'm mad at you. I'm mad at you that I'm still in this place. I'm mad at you that all these things happen. I'm mad. I'm angry. I'm hurt. I'm frustrated. I hate this place that you have me. And you know what he did? He came and sat with me and said, okay, you can be angry and you can be hurt, but you also need to face reality of why you're here. And so, I mean, this is not anything. He's giving me bits and pieces of this. Right, exactly. And that's what he's basically let me know is I already know all this, but I need you to know all this. It's the same question he asked Adam. In the very beginning in Genesis, where are you? Where's your head? Where's your heart? Where are you? He knows. God doesn't ever ask you questions for you to give him the answer because he doesn't know. He asks you questions for you to recognize the answers that you don't know. And there's been a lot of questions he's asked me over the last 3 years that I did not know. Things that I did not want to admit to, things I did not want to actually really face. And the more I'm learning, the more I face the things I don't want to face, the more healing comes from it. And it doesn't feel good until after the fact. Medicine on a wound stings. but it heals. Wait, I think that was in my journal. Whoa. I think he said that to me in one of my journals recently. There's a lot of things that he's said in the journals lately that have been pretty profound. And you guys, he's been telling all of us the same things in different ways, in ways that you'll understand. Didn't even realize this. Nope. So in my journal, like I didn't even connect these things to this whole shedding season, but he's been telling me, you know, I wrote in here, I feel the seasons change. It's gradual. This is the 24th of November. And he says, everything comes in the time and order I call for. You can rage against the heat of summer. You can hate every second, but to speed it up would remove the preparation it brings for the next season. Winter feels long, but the rest is necessary before the new life of spring can come forth. So it's things like that. He also says, I had been seeing a lot of the videos, you guys, and you know, I know you guys have probably seen them too, about the mothers wanting to pick their sons up for the last time. And they're talking to like their teen boys, like 12, 13, 14-year-old boys. And they're like, I don't remember the last time I picked you up, so I want to remember the last time I held you. And he said, you've been seeing a lot of last times. This, you don't realize, except that you do, that we are approaching a last time in this season. Not a death, but a change. That's what he's telling us, is that shedding is a change of things. The butterfly in the cocoon type of things. You can't go back after that. Once the chicken hatches from the egg, you can't put it back. He wants us to go into this new thing. You know, behold, I am doing a new thing. The enemy will come against you in ways that he has not yet, that you do not foresee. New things are coming, and he will come against those things. New pursuits, new relationships, new loves, and new demons and new enemies. So you guys, this is what he's trying to tell us. This is what he's trying to use this for. I'm trying to find that one that I was just talking about. No, I don't see it. Must be my other journal about the whole thing about medicine stings when you put it on, but it ends up healing in the long run. Okay, guys. Well, I don't want to keep you on too long. And I have to, like I said, I have to get up early tomorrow because I have to go to work early tomorrow because I have jury duty tomorrow. I have some things on Amazon to shop for before Christmas. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah. Some little girl things. I am very excited. Okay, guys, I will let you go. I'm going to try to get these up on YouTube. Absolutely. And this Thursday, we will be back on. So this Thursday is going to be our first night of the new series that we're going to do, which it makes sense that we're going through this season as we're getting into the next season because we're going to use it in the next season. But we're going to be going through fireproofing your faith and how to fireproof your faith and what does that look like and what does that mean and why do you fireproof your faith. And it's not going to be all 1 week. It's going to be many, many weeks. So those things are not all going to be in one period of time, but they are going to be in many, many periods of time. And so I want you guys to know that so that we can, get it all taken care of. Sorry. And you can plan for it, but it'll be Thursday nights. Every Thursday night we'll do like an installment in it. We'll still have our Monday nights like we do now. But yeah, so starting this Thursday again. And we won't, I think Christmas is on a Thursday, isn't it? Christmas Day. If so, we won't do it on Christmas Day either. No, Christmas is a Wednesday. Nope, I'm looking at the wrong month. Hang on. That's July. There we go. Yeah, Christmas is a Thursday, so we won't do Christmas Day. But we'll do every other Thursday. Besides that, we'll do the Monday before. And then we'll work our way through, all of the different ways, whys, all of that about fireproof faith. And I think we might have merch to go along with it. So, all right, guys, wish me luck tomorrow. Pray for my safety because I'm driving down the mountain again and driving back up the mountain again in the dark. So that'll be fun for me, unless they let me out early, which would be really nice, but I doubt it. But yeah, so just keep me in your prayers tomorrow as I'm driving and traveling. But other than that, we will see you guys. I think he's going to have me doing some more messages this week too, the shorter ones. So if you guys need it, check my profile. It'll be on there. Otherwise, I'll put some stuff on YouTube. You have past lives on YouTube, things like that. All right. You guys be blessed, be a blessing, and know that you're not struggling alone. I love you guys. Have a good night.